Elon Musk's xAI has acquired the platform now known as X, which was formerly Twitter. The significant deal combines cutting-edge AI tech with robust social data and also user engagement capabilities. We know that when it comes to X, Elon Musk wanted Twitter because he wanted X to be the everything app. Brad Gastworth from Unearthing Opportunities, is this a step in that direction for Elon Musk? Because otherwise, why on earth has he done this?
It's such a good question, Aaron. Yeah, I mean, I think he ultimately wants to combine these technologies, wants to have the xAI control that user sort of user base, and now offer different subscriptions to that user base, given how substantially large it is. I mean, it was a little bit of a head scratcher at the beginning. I mean, it sort of sounded like just shuffling assets and having some way from some tax considerations. But ultimately, I think there's some, I mean, it's a bifurcated sort of thought process. I think some people like the sort of strategic move. Others are sort of like, this is sort of bizarre. But I guess I'm sort of in the wait and see camp. I want to see what he's going to be doing with it. But ultimately, I mean, all of this is a distraction for Tesla too. I mean, and Tesla's under more fire now than it's been in quite some time, given, you know, the overseas competition with China and just domestically. I mean, there's just a big sort of hatred towards the brand now. And I mean, a lot of, you know, it's sort of crazy, but there's been, you know, violence and a lot of vandalism to Tesla cars recently as well.
It's incredible. I was parked behind a Tesla the other day that covered up the logo of the Tesla with, you know, I bought this before Musk went crazy kind of thing on the back of their car. What I'm kind of enjoying is those who are of the left who are buying these earth-saving Tesla cars that were going to reduce the carbon emissions now suddenly aren't talking about the future of vehicles being battery powered. They just hate Musk. What is it doing? And are those, in America, I know we've got Donald Trump buying a Tesla, not that he can drive it, but is it kind of swapping? Is the market for Teslas swapping from people who vote Democrat to people who vote Republican, or is just no one buying Teslas? And is the reason that the share price has dropped by over 30% simply because it was overvalued for such a long time?
Yeah, many good questions in there. I'll start with the overvalued first. I'll go there.
You open the Tesla can of worms, you get what you get.
Yeah, I think that's part of it. Now, going into the marketplace here in the US, it's interesting. And to your point about covering up sort of the logo, I saw a Tesla with a Toyota logo, Cybertruck, which was like bizarre. You know, clearly, you know, people know it's a Cybertruck. You can put any logo on it. They know what the Cybertruck is. But the mindset out here, I think you have the Democrats and some fanatics that are very against Musk. And there's actually in Florida, there's a lot of state troopers at Tesla dealerships because of just like, you know, sort of rogue violence. But you know, I think in terms of Tesla, I mean, the problem that I've had, and I used to have a Tesla and I loved the car. It was a rocket ship, you know, 0 to 60 in 2.6 seconds. But the problem I had was if there's an issue, it was a 3 to 6 month lag time for service. And what I've noticed is that the service side has not really grown with production. So those service times are going to continue to be elongated, which is a major concern for your owners of those cars. Now, I think pricing, now that there's a lot more competition, even domestically, that offer a lot more inside the car. Because you buy the Tesla, you might spend, you know, used to spend almost $100,000 on a bare bones inside car. And then for $100,000 Mercedes electric car, you get a tremendous amount of features. So I think just on the competition front, people are realizing that, yeah, the brand before had all this value. Now the brand has sort of some negative, you know, sentiment or this negative feeling. And there's other brands that have just as good of a type of technology. So yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of different reasons why the stock's gone down, and I still see more pressure coming in the near months, in the near term.
Obviously, the big one is BYD, Chinese owned, and sometimes you wonder whether Elon Musk is a bit depressed that he went all in on China, because the fear was he'd take the tech to China and China would steal it, as they're known for doing. And then all of a sudden, BYD comes along with great similar tech and it's cheaper. The tariffs obviously will probably put an end to that for Chinese imports of vehicles of BYD. I know that the US isn't a massive market now for BYD. Do you think that will help Tesla? Do you think that will help Tesla's share price, the fact that Trump is putting tariffs on foreign automakers?
And the for Tesla specifically, no, I actually don't see this helping them that much. So Chinese EVs are really not around at all in the United States. So I don't think I've ever seen any Xiaomi, BYD, any of the Chinese brand EVs. I maybe I've seen one in the last 5 years. It's mostly cost prohibitive because it's 100% tariff. So you have to pay 2x the cost to get that car here. But BYD, yeah, I mean, they're doing incredible things in China, the Chinese market, where you're absolutely right. Like Musk wanted to grow that market, they're getting destroyed in China, and the Chinese EV market. I would actually argue it's not similar technology. I would argue that their EVs are way above what we can offer domestically here and what the Tesla offers. I mean, you have incredible features and functions in those EVs from these Chinese manufacturers that we just don't have at all on domestically here. So I think the competition's a major issue over there, and I think in terms of just the competition domestically with the incumbents is an issue.
We often see the Justice Department get involved when they believe that companies are getting too big. We think famously Microsoft with Internet Explorer, we think about Apple with the iPhone and Safari, and we think about Google, we think about Amazon. What about Elon Musk, right? So you've got Musk, who not only does he have SpaceX, government contracts, and also satellites in the sky delivering high-speed internet to everybody now as well, but also he's got X and he's got Tesla, he's spoken about phones, and then on top of it, he's running the government Doge department to cut down there as well. Do you think that this deal between XAI and X could actually trigger regulatory scrutiny over his growing influence when it comes to AI, social media, and EVs?
What are you saying? He has too much control of too many technologies? Yeah, I mean,
well,
absolutely.
I think he's a genius, right? And I think he's a genius. I'm not talking about his politics, but I think anyone who does what he does, I mean, we've heard Bill Gates refer to him that way as well. But is the government able to recognize the difference between a genius who can do a lot and help humanity to level up, and a company which has too many fingers in too many pies that ends up controlling prices?
Yeah, that was well articulated. I agree. I mean, I think he's an absolute genius, probably one of the smartest people around. That being said, I think he's involved and has his hands in too many things where I think there has to be some breakup or some regulations or some way to sort of move his ownership because yeah, I mean, not only is he doing things for the government currently, he has, to your point on the SpaceX, he has had $1 trillion company with Tesla that's still, I mean, significant valuation, and these other companies within XAI and X, I mean, we're talking about trillion plus of value, but which could actually grow to be larger. I think it's a concern now. I think he's trying to do things properly for this country. I do believe that. But I mean, you started with the right premise of, look what's happened in the past with the Microsoft and Internet Explorer, AOL. I really think at some point the government breaks up the large mega cap. If it's the Amazon and Alphabet, a Meta. I think it's likely. I don't think it's in like 12 or 24 months, but I think in the next 5 years, I wouldn't be surprised to see those companies broken up. That being said, I actually think that some of the parts are worth more than what the standalone is being valued at. Because if they're getting the valuation currently at this combined entity where they're at, these other, these parts, when you break them up, are growing actually faster. Those could get a higher valuation, and I think it's worth more. So, but yeah, I mean, really good points and questions. I'm not. I don't know.
Right, but broken up. Hang on. But on broken up, the key ingredient here is Elon Musk. It doesn't really matter who owns the company behind the scenes, so long as Elon Musk either retains control or is in control or has some sort of involvement, right? There have been calls for Elon Musk to step down as Tesla CEO to try and help the stock. Do you think that would help the stock, or do you think that 50% of people who invest in Tesla stock do so because of Elon Musk?
Yeah, so I do think we'd get hit if he stepped down. I do think so, and I think. But ultimately, I think for like Twitter or X, when he purchased, I think people wanted him not to run it. And I think they wanted to see an outside or see somebody else be at the helm. So, he sent that big, a tweet or an X out about a survey saying like, hey, do you guys want me to continue to run it or not? And I think it was like 50+% said, no, we don't want you to run. So, I mean, it'll be interesting. I think
then Linda Yaccarino rocks up.
That was, say that again?
Linda Yaccarino rocks up from NBC and takes over as CEO of X to help Elon Musk through that. And many say that she's
Yes.
been quite successful in first, I think the big one is keeping her job, but secondly, steering it clear of some of the disaster that could come with Elon Musk's politics. Do you think that we need to see him step down from Tesla and to put in someone who the market can, I suppose, rally behind the way that people feel that Linda Yaccarino has done a great job at X?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's two sides, and I think there's two investor views. I think there is half, and it's split. I don't think it's significantly weighted one side to the other. I think if he did step down with Tesla, the stock gets hit harder, is in my opinion. I do think he needs to be involved in that. But I mean, if he makes it just from a strategic board, chairman of the board or vice chairman, I think maybe he can retain a little bit. But ultimately, like I think it's always hard when somebody's controlling so many things that are growing so quickly and they're so substantial. Like, how do you do the right? How do you do enough at each to really put to put your best foot forward? That's my concern. But I mean, he's done it. He's brilliant. But clearly Tesla right now could look and use a little bit more focused leadership.
Yeah, very much so. All right, we'll leave it there for now. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon.
Awesome. Thanks, Aaron.